We don't have to have every word in there. Just a motion has to be spelled.
Thank you for coming this evening. It's time to call the meeting to order. So, it's 5:30 p.m., March the 19th, 2026, and I call the Pickens County Library Board meeting to order. Roll call, Miss Nancy.
Mr. Wheeler?
Here.
Ms. Pinkerton?
Here.
Mr. Sams?
Here.
Mr. Aiken?
Here.
Mr. Kilburn?
Here.
And I'm here.
Okay. Accept the agenda as written. So the proposed agenda is before you. If there is no objection, we will swap item number 3 and item number 4 on the agenda to better accommodate the board and the board clerk. Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, the amendment is adopted and the agenda is adopted as amended. Okay. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mark Kilburn. And please feel free to remain seated, stand, or exit quietly to the vestibule.
Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us be here tonight to conduct this board's business. Please give us the strength and understanding and the knowledge to make the proper decisions that will affect both the library system and in accordance with your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Bruce Heimberger and ask him, if he will, just to tell a little bit about himself.
Yes, thank you. My name is Bruce Heimberger. I am a semi-retired librarian of 50 years. I've worked in 4 different library systems over my career, and this is my 3rd opportunity to serve as an interim library director for public libraries here in South Carolina. I am honored to have been asked to serve in this capacity here at Pickens County Library and look forward to working with the board and the public to bring the highest level of library service to Pickens County.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay. Number 3, the approval of minutes, which we switched out. The minutes of the previous meetings held on the following dates are listed. So we see the Library Board meeting of January 15, 26, Policy Committee meeting 1/22/26, Budget Committee meeting 1/23/26, the Redo Policy Committee meeting 1/28/26, Special Call meeting 2/12/26, Special Call meeting 3/6/26, Special Call meeting 3/10/26. Are there any corrections to the minutes? You have corrections?
Yes, to the policy committee, the redo, the 128. Robert Sams was in attendance and it was left off of there. And also there was a statement before the meeting started that the director stated that she wasn't sure why this meeting was even necessary. And I stated because I was told that the January 22nd meeting was against FOIA, and Mr. Wheeler was there at the table, and that made a quorum, which means that the meeting should have been labeled a board meeting instead of a committee meeting. And the director stated whoever told you that was a lie. We have always done committee meetings like this. And I stated that, Ms. Pinkerton stated that I can send you the information that was sent. And I wrote it down for you. So, and I'd like to amend. Did I say it? Sorry. I'd like to amend the meetings for that.
Okay. Well, if there's no objections to this correction, the redo policy of 128 stands corrected. Are there other corrections?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on the meeting for February 12th, I think there's a lot of information that's omitted out of those minutes, and I know that we're going to get into the how we're doing minutes later on tonight, I think, but the January 15th meeting was about 2 hours long, and we got 15 pages of minutes. The September 12th meeting, which was a little more lively, was about 2 hours long, and we got 6 pages of minutes. So I was not able to go through and make all the corrections, so I'm just asking. I do have some timestamps and some sections that I think we need to put in there, but I'd like to have those not approved and redone.
Okay, so those are the corrections. And that is on the special call meeting 2/12/26. Are there any objections to Mark's corrections? Okay. Hearing none, are there any other corrections to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, so I want to direct the board clerk to make the changes. Thank you, Lena. Okay.
I
No.
can send you information.
Okay, now we will enter into our public comment. We are limited to 3 minutes, a total of 30 minutes. Give me just a moment. Individuals wishing to address Pickens County Library Board must sign up in advance by contacting the library clerk via email or a phone call. Business hours here at the library. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes with a 30-minute total limit, and are prohibited during, well, not prohibited, but most time not called for during special call meetings. Speakers must refrain from obscene, disruptive, and defamatory language, and the board will not engage in dialogue, as sessions is for listening only. And so for details, further details, you can visit the library's website. So with that said, let's begin with our first. Okay. Who has that list? Okay. Oh. All right, first one is Jessica Beeman.
Good evening, members of the board. My name's Jess. I have lived here in Pickens County for the past 12 years. I'm a card-carrying member of this library. Before that, I was born and grew up in Toccoa, Georgia, right down the road. I am also an author with over 20 books for teens and young readers that have been finalists for many state and library awards, including the Junior Library Guild Gold Standard selections and our own South Carolina Junior Book Award. In my capacity as an author and a member of the literacy freedom organization Authors Against Book Bans, I have spoken to thousands of readers across the country at schools, conventions, and libraries just like our own. I have seen my own books, words, and ideas be subject to unconstitutional bans and censorship. I have also received countless letters from parents who have read my books with their children, telling me how my stories have enabled them to discuss diversity, classism, and oppression with their children, and how that brought them together closer as a family unit. I have seen firsthand how critical books, libraries, and the freedom of speech are to a healthy democracy and community. I am also a mom to two brilliant girls, age 5 and 10, who have spent countless hours in this very building, accessing books and programs that have helped shape them into educated and confident young readers. I have used books in this library, some of the very ones threatened by censorship efforts, to educate my daughters on topics such as racism, homophobia, and especially body awareness and safety, because we know that in the absence of public education about sex, predatory behavior can flourish. And so censorship of this library and its books threaten both my children's freedom and safety. I cannot emphasize enough that it is my job as a parent to parent my children, and my job alone. It is my right as a parent to choose what my children read, just as it's my job to monitor what they access on television, iPads, computers, or phones. But censoring library shelves infringes upon that right and freedom. It cannot be stated more strongly than this: the freedom to read and the freedom of speech is a First Amendment right. It is essential to ensuring that our community thrives, that personal beliefs or tastes of one person or small group of people should not dictate or infringe upon the constitutional rights of all. We all want to protect and enrich our children. Books have the power to build compassion, overcome prejudice, and enrich our community, but they must stay on public library shelves to do so. When we remove books that reflect a person's identity, be it about their religion, race, gender, orientation, or other identifying markers, we tell that person, adult or child, that their story and life are not worthy of discussion or existence. Our community in Pickens County is a diverse one, and this should be reflected in the diversity of our library shelves. No one group should infringe upon the First Amendment rights of the others by controlling what is or isn't in the library. I thank the board for your time and urge you to act in defense of our parental rights and choices, our First Amendment freedoms, by reversing this unnecessary and irresponsible review of all 86,000 plus books on our shelves, by restoring stability and transparency to the library system, and putting an end to censorship efforts which have already caused this community so much harm. A free society reads freely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Karen Kirby.
Thanks for this opportunity to speak. I'm Karen Kirby, a lifetime library girl for over 60 years. I love our Central Clemson Library. Our librarians serve us with professionalism, integrity, and kindness beyond measure. I have witnessed this over many years, as I am there often, bringing flower bouquets from my flower garden and for the public to enjoy or checking out books. At our library, all who come in are greeted with a smile and are welcome. Our library is much more than an amazing collection of books and resources. Our library is community. Newcomers to our area, old, young, and all those in between, people of all walks of life have a community at our library. Ray, an elderly friend who passed some years ago, lived close by the library by himself, no local family close by. Ray would park his beat-up old car in the handicapped front library parking spot. An almost daily library visitor, he would use the computers for research, mostly Clemson games. And he was hard of hearing, and when he talked, the entire library could hear him. We would all be respectful of this, and we did not keep him talking long. Ray would bring flowers to the librarians, and we got to know each other as he liked the bouquets I brought. My 90 years young church friend and a friend of Ray's told me one day that we needed to surprise Ray for his birthday. Together, we asked the librarians if they had any ideas about what my friend and I might personally gift Ray with. They knew exactly what he would like. He was totally surprised as we celebrated him along with our few small gifts as he exclaimed, "How did you know exactly what I like?" Ray so appreciated the community connection provided to him through library resources and those dedicated to public service. Let's make sure we as a community reach all the other Rays out there and keep encouraging through funding and other ways our public libraries to be the best they can be for our entire community. One of the reasons our library can have many wonderful programs and activities has been funded by the dedicated county millage that has been in effect for the past 27 to 30 years. In 2025, County Council voted to change this, and now funds operate under the general county fund. Now the state funding of roughly $365,000 is being held off until signed to proceed with funding, and is being voted on tonight as to whether to receive these funds. Mr. Chair, I read that you have said that you intend to sign tonight stating we want the funds. Is this correct and true? Please, let's all pause for a moment. And board members and all present, please take out your library card and hold up for a show of hands all of us who agree that the library is the greatest institution we have. Please give our Pickens librarians and staff and board members a round of applause for all they do serving us.
Thank you.
Let us all work together to support our Pickens library system, a priceless community asset that is available for all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Gus Edmondson.
Tonight, the board is attempting to finalize a policy that is as dangerous as it is onerous. Item 6.A on your agenda seeks to split our collection policy between current and new material. This is a distinction without a difference. Whether a book is old or new, this policy still seeks to move materials from the proper, professionally vetted places into an 18 to 25 young adult category that does not exist in library science. Chairman Parton recently admitted in a news interview that he believes this can be implemented because the librarians know what books have been challenged. That is a stunning admission of a subjective standard. It confirms this isn't an objective system. It is a system designed to target specific titles based on the grievance of a vocal few. This policy remains too vague for anyone to follow consistently, and that ambiguity is exactly what makes it a vagueness trap for our staff. The board is being fed lies that Proviso 27.1 allows for the cherry picking of passages to justify moving books. This is a legal delusion. I direct the board to South Carolina Code 16-15-305, which defines prurient interest. The law is explicit. Any determination of prurience must be made by judging the work taken as a whole. Subsection D, which mentions judging with reference to children, does not waive this requirement. Whether the audience is a child or an adult, the Miller test is the constitutional floor. You cannot legally claim a book as prurient by looking at a snippet. If you sign the state certification tonight while maintaining a policy that ignores the taken as a whole mandate, you are misrepresenting this county's compliance to the state library. You are certifying a lie. On March 10th, this board voted to deny an employee grievance. That decision is now moving this conflict out of the library and into the legal system, which will cost us as taxpayers. By ignoring professional Master of Library Science standards in favor of a subjective relocation plan, you are creating a documented history of government overreach. We are seeing the legal fallout of these exact moving versus banning arguments in Greenville County right now. Federal courts do not view relocation as a safe harbor for content-based discrimination. Every hour you spend defending a policy that ignores the state's own criminal code is potential money taken from the taxpayers to pay for a defense you will likely lose when we get hit with a lawsuit. Subjectivity is not a policy, it is a liability. We have seen this local debate devolve into personal attacks, baseless accusations of grooming, pedophilia, and claims that those of us defending the law need mental help. This vitriol is the greatest proof of why subjective policy is a failure. When offense is the only metric, it empowers the loudest and most aggressive voices to dictate what the rest of the county can read. We cannot let targeted baseless bullying replace the South Carolina Code. If this board refuses to implement an objective, legally sound policy that adheres to the taken as a whole standard of SC Code 16-15-305, then you have failed your mandate as library board. My call to action to the residents of Pickens County and County Council is this: if the board will not return to objective professional standards and follow the law, instead of playing puppets for a recognized extremist political group, the council must move for a resolution of no confidence. We deserve a board that follows the South Carolina Code, not one that ignores it to satisfy a local group with a dangerous and subjective policy. Young adult is not 25 years old. Subjectivity is not safety. Follow our laws, serve your community. Thank you.
Kate Bird.
Good afternoon. My name is Kate Bird. I'm a resident of Pickens County, South Carolina. This statement is submitted for the public record to document ongoing governance failures by this board. Good governance is transparent, deliberate, legally sound, and accountable to the public it serves. It is not reactive. It does not create the crises it then scrambles to manage. By that standard, the actions of this board do not qualify. They don't even come close. Since January 1st, this board has held 10 meetings, 6 of them special called with just one opportunity for public input. Major collection and reconsideration policy changes were rushed through, ignoring nationally recognized professional standards and the federally recognized rights of patrons, going far beyond the stated aim of complying with the state budget proviso. The board ignored repeated warnings that these changes would disrupt services. When they did, and programming was suspended, the public responded swiftly and severely. In response, this board fired a highly respected library director, an Intellectual Freedom Award winner and a native of this county, hired an interim director with no ties to Pickens County, physically present only 2 days a week, passing over a qualified assistant director who knows this community and its needs. The chaos does not stop there. We see selective enforcement and sloppy shifting agendas. We see a board inserting itself into operations it does not control. We see repeated FOIA concerns from executive sessions held to discuss legal matters that didn't fall under FOIA law to last-minute agenda changes. And tonight you are considering amending a collection policy you passed just last month. One has to wonder whether the board members responsible for this chaos have ever opened the reference manual for South Carolina Public Library trustees. The boundaries of board authority are not ambiguous. They are written down. The people of Pickens County deserve thoughtful, principled leadership. What this board has delivered is legally suspect, operationally erratic, and dismissive of professional expertise and public input. Good governance is steady, lawful, and accountable. What we are witnessing is the opposite. It is erratic, it is unnecessary, and it is embarrassing. Thank you.
May Anderson.
I pledge to honor the fundamental rights of parents, including, but not limited to, the right to direct the education, medical care, and moral upbringing of their children. I pledge to advance policies that strengthen parental involvement in decision-making, increase transparency, defend against government overreach, and secure parental rights at all levels of government. Those are the words of the parental pledge you can find on Moms for Liberty's website. Moms for Liberty is the conservative group behind many book reconsideration requests in the upstate and the country at large. To be very clear, the previous collection policy in Pickens County did not conflict with this mission statement. Parents were and always have been allowed to go to the library with their children and oversee their reading. If this were Moms for Liberty's true mission statement, they would not be fighting so adamantly against the freedom to read. Parental rights is a phrase that garners sympathy from community members, especially those with children. It creates the illusion that book reconsideration groups are defending rights and actively quelling oppression. The truth is the opposite. Their movement is propagating literary oppression, shifting rights away from parents and towards a closely controlled monolith. Parental rights hold no meaning within this movement and are not something to be fought for, since they already exist within the library system. Groups behind book reconsideration do not have parents' best interests at heart, a point they prove every time they take control from families. In reality, they are pushing a specific agenda, one that doesn't include diverse parents, children, and perspectives. Many argue that if a book is moved from the teen section to the adult section of the library, parents can still allow their children to check out the book. Well, that is true. The reconsideration of 86,000 books is creating a massive strain on the library staff. We cannot simply say, might as well move them. There are real people who are forced to catalog, reconsider, and potentially move books, taking away from the time they have to perform their regular jobs, which are more important and necessary to keep the library running. As of this year, many new eyes have been brought to the book banning debate, and they shouldn't be confused about the motives behind book reconsideration and the new library board's policies. My and my peers' rights within the library, which were previously held by our parents, are now being taken by a separate movement, a group that is not only ignoring, but actively contradicting its core value, which is parental rights. In Pickens County, protecting parental rights goes hand in hand with preserving the freedom to read. We understand that to preserve parental rights, the rights of every parent must be acknowledged and respected. If you want to learn more, go follow the organization Students Against Book Banning on Instagram. That's at SABB_DWD. Thank you so much.
Crawford. Sheila Crawford. Okay. Smooth. Brittany Fowler.
Good evening. I want to begin by acknowledging that everyone in this room likely shares something in common. We all care about families and we want what's best for our community. Where we differ is not whether or not we care, but in how we believe the library should serve the public. Public libraries exist to provide access, not uniformity of thought, not limitation based on one perspective, but access for everyone. Over the past several weeks, we've seen a series of rapid and significant changes. This board has held multiple special called meetings and in a very short period of time. And at that same time, we've seen major policy shifts, disruption to program, and the removal of a library director. Even for those of us following closely, it's been difficult to keep up. And for the broader public, it's nearly impossible. That is not a sign of stability, and stability matters. It matters for families who rely on programs. It matters for children developing literacy skills, and it matters to staff trying to do their jobs. And it matters for public trust. I want to be very clear about something. This is not about dismissing concerns from parents. Parents absolutely have the right to guide their own children's reading, but that right does not extend to limiting access to every other family in this county. We can hold both truths at the same time. A parent can choose what is right for their child, and a library can remain a place where families have access to a broad range of materials. That balance is what public libraries are built on, and right now that balance is at risk. When policies become vague, when decisions are made rapidly, and when processes appear inconsistent, it creates confusion, and confusion has consequences. We are already seeing those consequences in the form of canceled programming, reduced services, and growing division in our community. And that's why so many of us are here tonight, not in anger, but in concern. Concern for the long-term health of our library system, concern for the legal and financial risk of unclear policy decisions, and concern for the precedent being set in how decisions are made. My ask tonight is simple: slow down. Prioritize clarity, transparency, and consistency. Focus on policies that are grounded in established library standards and constitutional principles. And most importantly, ensure that this library system continues to serve the entire community and not just one perspective. Public libraries belong to us all.
Crystal Chapel.
Good evening. Libraries exist for one fundamental reason: to support learning, literacy, and the access of information for everyone in our community. In our county, those needs are very real. Across South Carolina, roughly 1 in 5 adults struggle with basic literacy, meaning they have difficulty reading materials like job applications and medical forms or school communications. When literacy challenge exists at that scale, a stable and well-supported library system is not a luxury, it's an essential public service. For many families, the library is the first place where children develop their love of learning and reading. It's where students who may not have books at home discover stories that spark their curiosity and their imaginations. It's where adults work toward their GEDs, apply for jobs, and learn new skills that improve their economic opportunities. When the library system functions well, the benefits ripple outwards to schools, to employers, and to the overall strength of our community. But those benefits depend on stability. Libraries thrive when policies are consistent, leadership is steady, and decisions are made with the long-term community needs in mind. Frequent disruptions in governments, whether through abrupt leadership changes, politicized decision-making, or instability in oversight, can weaken the public trust and distract from the mission of serving its residents. The practical impacts of the instability are definitely significant. Staff morale can suffer, Experienced professionals may leave, program can be interrupted, and community partnerships with schools, nonprofits, and local organizations break down. Over time, those disruptions reduce the library's ability to deliver the very services that our taxpayers rely on. Equally important is the rights of parents. Parents deserve to guide their own children's reading choices and values. Libraries have long supported that principle by offering a wide range of materials while empowering the families to decide what is appropriate in their own children. Maintaining that balance, broad access, along with parental involvement is the key to keeping our library welcoming to everyone in this community. Ultimately, libraries are one of the very few public spaces designed to serve every resident equally: children, parents, students, seniors, and job seekers alike. The decisions made by this board shape our library and make sure that it remains a place of opportunity and learning, or if it becomes a source of division and uncertainty. I encourage the board tonight to prioritize stability, thoughtful governments, and long-term educational needs of our county. Thank you.
Virginia King.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all's service. In past meetings, I've heard that we couldn't pray in Jesus' name because of separation of church and state. Some have claimed that the First Amendment allows pornographic material in the children's section because an amendment gives them freedom to read whatever they desire. Neither of these statements is true. I have a copy of the Constitution and the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Each person has a fundamental right to pray openly as they choose. Praying in Jesus' name may offend some people. They have the right not to agree with that prayer. They do not have the right to deny anyone the right to pray in Jesus' name. Our founding fathers came from various religious backgrounds, yet they prayed and studied the Bible for over 2 hours when they met. They did not all agree with each other. They were united in realizing they needed God to create the founding documents in this great nation. Many remembered the reason they left England was because the government required everyone to be a member of the Anglican Church. Therefore, the Danbury Baptist Association wrote to President Thomas Jefferson to commend his stance on religious liberty and express concerns about religious oppression. This letter led Jefferson to clarify the government's role in religious matters. Jefferson then wrote the famous letter to the Danbury Baptist Association on January 1, 1802, using the phrase, "a wall of separation between church and state," to describe the First Amendment's intent to protect religious freedom from government interference. The letter's phrase, "wall of separation," became a foundational metaphor for interpreting the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, meaning the government cannot establish a religion or interfere with religious practices. Children's rights. The First Amendment also says that Congress may not make any law that diminishes the freedom of speech. It didn't say freedom to read, it's the freedom of speech. It gives everyone, even children, the right to speak freely. It does not say children can read whatever they want. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 slots open, so we're going to 11 and 12 that's signed up. Austin Baker. Barker, Austin Barker.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. My name's Austin Barker. I'm a resident of this county, father of 6, regular user of the library, and a former English teacher. This issue has been framed as censorship or banning books. Let's be clear. Nobody's banning books. We're talking about categorizing books and where to put them in the library. This is not about censorship. This is about common sense and community standards. I'm concerned by the decision to shutter the youth programming under the false pretense of resource redirection. Based on many conversations I've had, this seems like a tactical choice. The number of books actually requiring review is not as large as claimed. Simply using the publisher's own content ratings would cut that list at least in half. Library staff and management are framing the safety of our children and the staffing of our library programs as a false either-or proposition. It doesn't have to be that. I and others are willing to help read these books according to your rubric. This would free up library personnel to restore the shuttered programs. Doesn't require a master's in library science to apply a common sense rubric. We can solve this problem if we want to. When I spoke to my board member, he said we should trust the professionals to be neutral. I wish that were the case, but a degree in library science does not make a person neutral on content moderation. But too often, when a person asks, how do we define prurient, they are actually saying, can we define prurient at all? Claiming that that line is difficult is disqualifying. We know it when we see it. One common defense is the library serves all families, and different families have different standards. Let's test that idea. We have families in this community with white supremacist views. Would this library ever place white supremacist books on teen shelves simply because their parents didn't object to that content? Of course not. Why? Because we correctly recognize that racism is morally offensive prima facie. Are we censoring racism? Well, some things are morally offensive, and exposing adolescents to graphic sexual descriptions belongs in that category. It's not censorship to say that certain materials are unsuitable for developing minds. It is stewardship of the parents' trust. If you don't believe that exposure to this content is a problem, then that line becomes blurry and difficult for you. But hiding behind a fake, well, how could we ever agree? That's not a neutral stance. That is choosing an agenda of exposure over the virtue of our children. The right to read is real, but it must be balanced with the social responsibility to protect developing minds. I thank you for the action you've taken, and I urge you to stand firm, accept the help of qualified volunteers like myself and others, and insist that management restore the programs that serve our community and that our families rely on, even if that requires additional funding. Thank you.
Thank you. One more, Wesley Wilson.
Thank you. So my name is Wesley Wilson. I'm from Pickens. I'm a taxpayer, a friend of the library, and a dad whose kids are frequent users of the library. So first, let me commend this board for taking the difficult steps to comply with the law and protect our kids from inappropriate material. I agree with everything the previous speaker said, but I can already hear some of the objections. Somebody will say, well, why are we wasting time? There's no inappropriate material in the kids or teen section. Well, this week I decided to check out a couple of books from the teen section of this library. Blood Moon by Brittany Lewis includes the main character's boyfriend stripping naked in front of her on page 219. And later she fantasizes in detail about him pinning her down and exploring every inch of her body with his body, page 275. This is a 14-day book. It's a new book. Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare includes a sex scene between the main character and her boyfriend that goes from passionate kissing to a night of unprotected sex on the beach, and then him dressing her while she slept. That's pages 423 to 426. Now, some parents may be okay with that. Different parents have different ideas of what is okay for their kids. I get that. But the library should help parents make informed choices by properly categorizing books that may require some parental guidance. It's a parent's job to make sure our kids aren't using alcohol and cigarettes too. But we assist parents by by making it illegal to sell those substances to teens. All we're asking for is a little bit of help to know when parental guidance is needed in these books. The last speaker, Austin, also proposed freeing up library resources by forming a volunteer committee to screen those books. Now, somebody will say, well, what if some prude miscategorizes things? Well, this is not a new problem. Wikipedia has been crowdsourcing content moderation for a long time. It's not that hard or expensive. It can be as simple as every volunteer noting the book and page number in a Google Sheet or Google form per the library's guidelines, and then library staff checks that small percentage of books that gets flagged. The ultimate decision will still be up to library staff, but the volunteers can take probably 99% of the workload. In summary, I'm looking for a focus on solutions. There is problematic content in the teen section of the library, but we don't need to suspend all library services to properly identify it. Let's pull in some willing volunteers and get this done. Let's make the library a safer place for our kids and teens by helping parents know when their child's book may require parental guidance. Thank you.
Okay, our time for public comments over, and so we will move on to item number 5, Library Director's Report.
Excuse me, I was number 6 outside. I couldn't hear my name.
Oh, okay, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
At least that's what I was told in the email.
Yes, Sheila Crawford.
Thank you. The NAACP Pickens County branch is calling foul on the handling of the February 27th dismissal of Pickens County Library Board Director Stephanie Howard in closed proceedings. This marks the progression of an obvious strategy by a cabal, a group of political or other people who meet and decide things secretly to advance their political and social engineering agenda. The NAACP asks that the community be provided with information on the policy, process, and source that govern the dismissal of the library board director. From the beginning, it was irresponsible and abuse of taxpayer-funded time for this board to direct the review of over 86,000 children and teens books at the expense of actual library programming, even though the board had been repeatedly told what it would take to conduct the book reviews. The county's reputation has been negatively affected nationally by the board's recent decisions. Citizens and others are asking what kind of mentality we have in our county to fire the state 2025 Intellectual Freedom Award winner, a director who has worked to create a first-class inclusive library system with programs that benefit all citizens. An organization's culture is shaped by its leadership, and the number one quality is integrity. Integrity is the foundation upon which all other leadership qualities depend. Integrity shows up in how leaders make decisions, communicate expectations, and handles mistakes. Other leadership qualities are emotional intelligence, communication skills, vision, and strategic thinking, respect, accountability, and resilience and adaptability. After a review of the decision for the book review, which the director was in the process of doing at the board's direction, it is time for this board to show some integrity and do what is right. We are requesting the reinstatement of Stephanie Howard as director. She is from this county and has served with integrity and professionalism. Sheila Crawford, President, NAACP Pickens County Branch.
Okay, we'll begin with item number 5, and it's Director's Report, Sarlin Branch Manager Report.
Thank you to the board for having me. Thank you everyone for being here.
I can. Is that awkward?
Can everyone hear me? No? Just yell. Okay, just yell. Got it. I'm good at that. So my name is Bethany Pannon. I'm the manager of the Starland Library in Liberty. Some of you know me, some of you don't. And I'm here tonight to just give you an overview of our branch for so far this fiscal year. During this fiscal year, the library has welcomed 15,328 visitors. These numbers are on par with our last year's numbers, and it's likely that the branch will receive somewhere between 25,000 and 28,000 visitors for the fiscal year. The staff have answered 8,239 questions in person, and we have assisted 3,745 questions over phone or email. With 3.5 months remaining in the fiscal year, the staff has already exceeded the amount of questions answered last year. That totals 11,987. We're looking forward to helping more people, but I want you all to know how important that is. Those numbers are on the decline across the state and in libraries everywhere. So the fact that people are in the building is huge. Meeting room and study room reservations have continued to rise. So far this fiscal year, our large meeting room has been reserved 135 times and has been used by 1,761 people. Our study rooms have been used 322 times by 549 people. Those statistics do not include any of our summer reading numbers. So those large programs that you see during the summer, those aren't those numbers. Those are daily usage numbers. This is our most successful year for the seed library to date. We have, please come get seeds, 21,671 packs of seeds to give away for free to the community. We have currently given out 6,000 packs of seeds and interacted with 1,122 community members. These numbers are higher than any previous year. We are a staff of 4. There are 4 of us. Myself, 2 full-time staff, and a part-time staff. We do all of that work. The donation seeking, the sorting and packing, the labeling, with the help of maybe 10 volunteers. And it takes from June until February, at which time we're doing summer reading. So it is a lot of work, and I'm so thrilled to do it. Those numbers are on par with some of the largest library systems in the state. So it's a big accomplishment for us to be able to do that. We have also been able to continue our partnerships with the South Carolina Native Plant Society, Pickens County Soil and Water, Food Share South Carolina, and others. I was able to take specialized training to become a master gardener this year, and that has enabled me to offer more in-depth specialized training and programs for community members, and to provide zone-specific gardening information for the community at large. That information is normally behind a paywall, so by taking that class, I'm able to give it to you all for free. We also have some patrons who have been doing starter plants. So they take our seeds, they start plants. We have a table called the propagation station, and this year we have already given away 400 free starter plants for tomatoes and peppers for the season, and we have interest in people continuing that program and expanding it so that if gardeners want to get started or if they're facing food insecurity, they have a way to do that. We have done 155 passports so far this year. Our notary services have become more popular. We doubled our notarizations so far this year. We've already done 81, and last year we only did 40. And during this year, we hosted 116 programs so far. Our programs have reached 2,906 people. That is 1,683 children and 1,223 adults. Using our current numbers as a projected trend, it's likely that we will offer more programs and have more attendees than any previous fiscal year.
Thank you for that good report.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Library Information, Interim Director.
Did you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me start as the interim director. I'll be finishing my second day on the job today, so I don't have a very lengthy report at this point. Cassie will be giving a report on some other things that the library director would normally be giving, but the one thing that I do have to report on is I have been reviewing the collection development policy and will be presenting my observations in a future report. Cassie has other report items to tell you about now.
And I apologize, I've lost my voice a little bit, but I'll try to be loud as possible. Our HVAC construction here at Easley is almost wrapped up. The contractor is going to be training staff on how to use the software next week, so that should be pretty much the end of that project. And the construction to complete the wings upstairs is going to go out to bid very soon. So we are excited to see momentum on that. We have purchased 2 new vehicles to replace our old minivans that we use for our courier route and for using to get to programs within the system and community programs that we do. So we have received one of the vehicles that replaced our programming vehicle, not our outreach vehicle, our programming vehicle, it's different. And then we are still waiting on the replacement for our courier vehicle to be delivered. It's been bought and paid for, we just haven't received it yet. We are excited to have received funding from the Pickens Rotary Club and the Friends of the Library to place a permanently installed story walk at the Pickens Doodle Trail. If you've seen any of our story walks, you know we use temporary, kind of like yard sale signs. So we're excited to be installing our first permanently installed one with these funds that were donated to us, and they should be installed by the end of June. So that will be our first one, but hopefully we'll be able to get more once we see how this one goes. Danny had previously asked about what we were doing with the SC250 this summer. And we have currently we are partnering with the Pickens County 250 Committee and the DAR to host a series of events over the last few months. The last one in that series is coming up next Sunday, and will be a presentation about Francis Marion, who most people know as Swamp Fox. So those have been very well attended. We will have more programming. I know that we are going to be doing programming for children at all 4 locations on Carolina Kids Day in partnership with the DAR and the 250 Committee, and we're in the planning stages to do some more for adults as well. Our weekly and bi-weekly children's programs are back up and running. Monthly programs and daycare outreach are going to return in April, and the teen book boxes are going to resume in May. Our bees are going to return in April. That's always a very exciting time, and all locations will have a house swarming party to welcome them back on May 2nd with story time and activities for kids. And they can see the bees in the observation hives. We started doing the swarming party last year or the year before, and they've been very well attended. Other than that, we're just really ramping up preparations for summer reading, and our youth services manager will be here at the May meeting to tell you guys about what we have planned for that.
Thank you, Cassie. Okay, financial report.
So you all should have it in your packets. Overall, we're slightly behind where we should be on our spending. A couple of accounts we wait to spend towards the end of the year, just in case things come up that break and we need to be able to respond to those, like our furniture account and our computer replacement account. So those we're going to be spending down pretty quickly in those areas. It looks like there's a credit in the computer equipment account, and I'm waiting to hear back from finance about what exactly that is. That's the one that looks like we have a 50% overage in it. And we are over just slightly on the vehicle maintenance line item, so it's a really good thing that we've gotten these new vehicles because they were breaking down a lot. We've already spent that whole budget. So those are just some highlights from the financial report.
At the end, last year, we developed a spreadsheet that was a lot easier to read.
Yeah, and I don't have access to that, so that's why it's not included in there. I didn't have time to research it,
No,
but
that's
should
okay.
be back in May.
Okay, yeah, because these reports from the county are
A lot.
almost undecipherable.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
You said the two vehicles were purchased. Were those the vehicles that we were waiting for state funding for?
We did use state funding for them.
Okay, but so they've been those are the ones you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question, same topic. So our total state funding is like $362,000 off of the spreadsheet that I got off of the state library system for our county based on the number of people that, are in the county. So we had received $180,000 already earlier, and so on the January statements, we had about $23,000 left to spend on that. Okay? We needed the extra $180,000 as that was, although in the meeting of February 12th, that whole discussion is not in there, which is why I wanted to amend those minutes. We were pretty much told that we needed to sign the certificate to get the $180,000 because it'd be almost impossible to spend all that money by the end of June 30. All right, so now in March, without that extra $180,000 coming in, we've ended up spending almost $60,000 over that $180,000. So the budget currently with the $80,000 on the machinery and equipment line is for the vehicles, and I see that the one vehicle that hasn't been delivered is in the encumbrance here. And then the other line item, which is the books, the state aid books, that's $280,000. So if you add them up, you come up to the $362 total state aid. So currently, according to this machination, we have left to spend $40,000 of the state aid money altogether. So my question was, how were we able to manipulate the funds to pay for the vehicles when that was an impossibility back on February 12th?
I'm not sure on that. That was all set into motion.
Okay.
Not by me.
Yep.
So
No, I
I'd have
understand.
to look into that and
Would
see.
you please?
And see how finance worked that out.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing because it was a pretty adamant argument that we needed those funds in order to, and we weren't going to spend them all, and now we've got 3 months to go and we only need to spend $40,000. The other question is that the line item for books, which I think you've told me before is books, but it's also other circulating materials and so on and so forth. That amount expended year to date, out of the 134 that we have available, we've expended 20,000, and that's the same as it was in January. So since then, we haven't purchased anything?
We spend up state aid and then we move into the local funds.
So it's like a tiered thing?
Yes, because
Okay.
if we don't spend all of state aid, we have to send all of that money back. So
Okay.
we spend all of that before we go into the local funds book line. The $20,000 that we have already spent out of it was covered what we spent during the delay in the first payment of state aid.
Gotcha. Okay. So, do you think, well, I'm not going to ask you that because that's not really a fair question, so. Okay, thank you.
Other questions, financial? Okay. Let's move on to our foundation report.
Oh, stay again. So on the foundation report, you'll see that we have a credit of a little over $200, and that is based on 11 T-shirts that we sold. The foundation has put their the T-shirt fundraiser basically on clearance. So we sold 11 of those, and we've got 24 T-shirts left total. That was all the activity.
24, that's it?
Yep.
This may not be a question for you directly, it may be for these folks, but when you're a nonprofit, normally you don't run up assets without a spending plan. I mean, that's one of the concerns which can get you into, sometimes get in trouble with tax folks and stuff. You do, and maybe you can answer this.
They do have a plan.
Do we have is there a plan for the $79,000?
Are we, Elisa's on the foundation, are we allowed to say what the plan is?
No, because
Okay.
we don't, no. We are trying to raise money,
Yeah,
to get more money. We do have a plan,
okay.
but we're trying to accumulate a bunch of money before we bring the plan from the board
Yeah.
to discuss. So that will be in future, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Is that it? Thank you, Casey. All right, we'll move on to number 6, old business. And the first one is to amend collection policy to move only new materials and use reconsideration policies for all other materials. And I'm going to ask Hap, I believe that's yours, and if you would like to make a motion to amend and be the first to speak on that, please.
Right, we can either amend the policy or just provide this as guidance. It doesn't matter at this point. But if we're going to continue with the implementation of what I consider a highly flawed collections policy, I'd like to provide some guidance to the library staff. So yes, the motion is the collection policy criteria for children's, juvenile, and teen sections will apply to new acquisitions, and existing materials will be evaluated according to these criteria following reconsideration requests. And the guidance will significantly reduce the workload on the librarians in charge of these collections, and thus the potential impact on programming. In any case, what's being done, before the pause could only begin moving in the direction of compliance, given the sheer magnitude of the materials that would need to be evaluated. I suggest that reconsideration requests may be more targeted in identifying those materials that the public, who the policy is allegedly trying to protect, find objectionable. Further, the guidance would be forward-looking and not retroactive, as many policies and laws are, and it would avoid the need for drastic overhauls of complete collections every time a policy changes, which it has in less than 1 year and may well happen again in the near future. So that's my suggestion, is that if we're going to implement this policy, which I object to, that we do it on new materials only and let reconsideration requests deal with any existing materials in the library.
Okay. So
That's my motion.
Okay, so that's his motion to amend. And so with that, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to say that, I mean, we disagree on the collection policy, obviously, but I do feel that the collection policy that's in place has not yet really been implemented, and with our new director, who's going to work on a procedure and let us know what that is going forward, I think we should just stay the course. I'd also like to say that there are, I think, I always get this wrong, 45 counties, 46 counties
46.
in South Carolina. Most of them have moved to a collection policy which is in compliance with this proviso, and none of them shut down their programming policies. That was a decision made by the library staff. This 86,000 books was also a decision made by library staff. The library board did not dictate 86,000 books to be reviewed. That was part of the policy implementation. I'd also like to say that the board found out about the policy implementation by reading the Post and Courier. We had no knowledge of what was going on until we saw the media posts and the newspaper reports. So to try to adjust the policy before we've even had a chance to do it, I've heard one of the public speakers speak at the county council meeting, who said that, you know, isn't there data systems, databases that you can search through books or without physically going through 86,000 books? And I think it's a very valid point that he has. So I'm sure there's ways to do this without the disruption that we've seen already. So I would say that we just stay the course on the policy as is.
Other discussion? Okay. Hearing none, HAP's made an amendment to this policy, and so we have ended discussion. So we now have this motion. HAP, would you like to clarify that motion again before we vote?
Sure. The collection policy criteria for children's, juvenile, and teen sections will apply to new acquisitions, and existing materials will be evaluated according to these criteria following reconsideration requests.
Okay. So with that said, the motion's on the floor. So all in favor of this amendment from HAP, raise your hand. Anyone opposed, like sign? Okay. It did not pass. Okay. B, continuation of collection policy. Okay. So in discussion, possible motion. So our continuation of the policy from last meeting, we had concerning the policy to pause it until we have an interim. And so we have an interim now. And so the motion now, do I have a motion that we continue the collection policy?
I put a motion forward that we continue the collection policy.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion. Okay.
So
Here,
we're going to continue the policy, and we're going to get new guidance on how to implement it from
Right, yeah.
our new director? Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, all in favor of continuing the collection policy, raise your hand. Any opposed, like sign? Okay, it passed, carries, okay. C, certification form of the state, for the state. So discussion and possible motion. Do I have a motion for this signing of this certificate? Do I have a motion?
I make the motion we sign.
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion?
Mr. Chairman, can I speak?
Yes.
I've been thinking about this, and my stance the whole time has been just the policy itself does not mean we're compliant. So do we know of any books that have been moved? Do we have a quantity? Do we have an amount? Do we know anything?
Do you want me to? So we moved the 10 books that were brought to us by Rex Rice last summer. Those books have been moved. They are now in the adult section. We had a reconsideration a couple weeks ago that's coming up due. That's more than likely going to be moved. The staff had reviewed about 800 books in the children's section here and hadn't found anything yet under their review. And then our plan was, after we had moved these initial 10 books, to go back and review the books that had been reconsidered in the past year or so that had remained in the young adult section. It's what we had planned to do before it was paused.
So has the reconsideration list that we had to read, that we've
Right.
already read and they stayed in the teen section, have those been moved or no?
No, we hadn't gotten to those yet. Those were next on our list to do.
Okay, so total in the teen is 10, and then 800, that you reviewed in the children?
Yeah.
Okay. I still feel like some movement needs to be happening and to wait for a process, but that's just my opinion, so. I'm done.
Other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just reiterate the same thing, that the new library director is going to come up with a plan on how that's going to continue to be implemented. And because the certificate says that, we're sure that we don't have books in the system that need to be moved, and because the need for the money obviously is less urgent now than it was a month ago, I'm gonna say that no, I'm not gonna vote for that.
I got you. Okay, other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
staff has stated it's urgent that this is signed as soon as possible. And when we interviewed Bruce, he said that it could be done within 2 weeks. That was his words. So I say I've always listened to the staff. So we got to get this ASAP because they have until June 30 to spend it. So we have to. And as Mark noted earlier, that some of this money's been pre-spent in anticipation of this receiving. And the state policy does not move at lightning speed. So this was delayed for more than a month. So I think it's urgent that it's signed tonight, and we trust the interim director to, have this 2-week timetable to get the hot stuff off the review.
Other discussion?
Well, I'll just make the comment that, and just to remind people, there are no prurient materials in the library. There may be materials. Order. There may be materials that have sexual content, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're prurient. So we have absolutely no reason not to sign this certificate.
Okay.
We could have signed it a month ago.
Other discussion?
I got a question. Some clarification on the financials. Now, is it possible that money can be moved from one account to another to cover if we wait on a 2-week meeting and find out what is the plan going forward on implementation? Had we not had all the issues that we had before, we were planning on coming in here. My understanding was we're going to find out what our previous library director's plan was going forward for implementation and a progress of what had been done. So that plan all short-circuited, and we only have 10 books moved. So I'm leery about saying that we are in compliance as of yet with this, with the full knowledge that it's likely to be very soon.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I mean, it was pointed out in public comments that we've had 10 meetings in 2 months, and I don't want to have a special meeting called just to sign this piece of paper that the library needs ASAP. So I do trust the interim director, I trust the staff, and there was 800 books reviewed, it wasn't just 10 moved. So I trust the staff, and I would urge that we sign it tonight just to not have another special meeting.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Realizing that I've only been here 2 days, my observation, not a recommendation, but an observation, is that I also trust the staff. As human beings, we all make mistakes, we all miss things, but in this particular case, I'm pretty much in agreement with you, Hat, that we're good. Now, and I'll say this, not physically being in most of the public libraries in this state, but I'm confident in this also. I'm recognizing human nature, that there are probably a small number of books in other public libraries in this state that in fact would not meet the proviso, but that would be a not on purpose thing, but just something that has slipped through the cracks in some of these libraries. Does that mean that those library boards have misrepresented to the state library the situation in their own county libraries? I say no. It's just that things can at times slip through the cracks. So our job will be going forward, and as it's been in the past here, to find materials that have possibly slipped through the cracks. But I don't think that just the possibility that there are a few things here, and I'm not saying there are, but we can't, I would not myself hesitate to sign the certification because there might be. These librarians are not out looking for materials that are going to be against the proviso or against the Miller three-legged test. We don't operate that way. So, My observation is, again, I'm not going to make a recommendation because I've only been here 2 days, but my observation is I trust these folks and we'll fix what we need to. And I can be more specific and detailed in the future, but I wouldn't wait. I'm here to help lead this, and I'm going to do it, and full speed ahead.
Well, I'm kind of waiting last from our meeting, and the reason it was not signed last meeting when we were going to sign it was that we wanted to see that this collection policy's already been said, but that we see a good implementation and a good effort to move some books. And so we have 800 books looked through, 10 that Senator Rice just said there's possibility that they were not in compliance with the proviso. Going back to that meeting is, and I know you've just been here 2 days, I would like to see something more in the way of some books being moved than what's been moved, and that's kind of where I'm at. So that's where I'm with that. So we're going to take it it's time to vote. Any more discussion? We're going to vote. Okay. All in favor of, let me get back to my form here, of signing the certification form. Now, signing the certification form. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, like sign. So it will not be signed. It didn't pass.
I think
It was 3-4. 3-4.
Okay, it passed. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see the hands. Okay. Yeah. You just need to be where I'm at right now, okay? Kind of go blind at times. All right, let's move on then. And so we're looking at new business, discuss and possible motion of minutes, changes, and of the video of meetings. And so who would like to speak to that concerning a motion or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would.
Okay.
So, I don't understand the minutes to start with. Generally, in a county, using the county council as an example, they have a pretty big agenda, a lot going on there. They have like 10 items. But the meetings, the minutes are not so detailed. With these minutes, I don't know if it's supposed to be a transcript of the meeting or if it's a selected transcript or what it is. But we got the last board meeting uses an example, and we had 15 pages of minutes for that one meeting. And I think under Robert's Rules of Order and other nonprofit guidelines for minutes, it's basically a summary of what happened, what the motions were, what the vote was. If something is unusual or pertinent, I guess there's more put in there for the discussion. But usually it's not like a verbatim of what happened. So I kind of would like to see us to go back to more like a summary of the minutes. We do have a video of the meeting that you can always refer back to if you want to go and watch the 2 hours. But the minutes themselves, I think, should be a little more abbreviated. that's my main thought on that topic.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Originally, we didn't have video. When we wanted more information on this, we didn't have the videos, so, and we haven't discussed it since we started videoing the meetings. So, I mean, they are pretty long and they are, I mean, I'm with you on that. And the video of the meetings too, do we know, are all the meetings videoed or just the regular scheduled and special called? Are the policy committee, like, are the committee meetings, like, is everything videoed or just?
Not currently. We are committed to, right now, all the regular meetings are, and then if there's a special called meeting that has like a major vote, we would record that, but obviously, like the last one, I think was just executive session. No point in that. But it would really be up to you guys to decide which meetings that you wanted to have videoed. We have he's contracted, so we can.
It's
schedule-
available, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Like, we could, if we wanted every single
Yes.
meeting to be videoed, that could be a possibility, or if we don't,
Yeah.
that, okay.
Keep in mind, we pay by the hour.
Every time.
Every
Okay.
time.
By the hour?
Yep. And
They-
Lena would also appreciate going back to a summary of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
She's not
Oh,
here,
yeah.
but
No,
she
no,
would
yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, because
And in her defense, I mean, I was one of those people who asked because we did not have a video. So, I mean, I completely, now that there's a video, there's not necessarily the need for details. So, okay.
Could I ask a question? So, is she using like software, or is she using her notes and she's just
A
typing?
combination. She gets, she takes detailed notes and then she records it, and there's a transcript with it. So she does the best she can with the
Yeah.
transcript. It doesn't always pick up everything, so.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree with Mark that typically minutes reflect actions that are to be taken. They don't reflect the entire discussion. And as long as we have the entire discussion, if there would be a way for it to be automatically turned into a transcript, that would be nice, a voice transcript, so that someone could read the contents of the meeting, or they can watch the video, either way. But yeah, we could go to a more abbreviated approach.
Okay. Also, I know Elena was here and then she had to leave. And so in light of that, it's one of the reasons where I think this was coming up, is that through videoing, what I'm hearing is that we can go back and we can hear and see, for the minutes, you can go back and watch that. But also, I think with the video and then minutes, and then Miss Nancy, our board secretary, she's kind of filling in when Jolana had to leave. So that's why we're wanting to kind of clarify this. Okay, so it would be good if we could video. I'm thinking from the discussion, is this what you guys are saying? Also on the committee meetings, is that what you're saying? Video and just okay. So, is there any more discussion? We'll let someone make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that Blue Lion, who does the video, Blue Lion.
Yes.
There is a program that we can just get a transcript from each meeting.
Right.
So I think it's part of AI that we can do it to save the staff.
Right.
Okay.
All the corrections.
Yeah,
Is that an extra cost?
I think it's just pressing the button, but we'll check on that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion? We're going to move on.
We'll see this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes AI doesn't like Southern accents, so we need to double check on that when AI spits it out.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. All right. With that said, no more discussion. Do I have a motion that we make the video all our meetings, which we are, even special called meetings, okay, and then also committee meetings, okay. So do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, second?
Second.
Okay, and I think we've discussed it pretty well. And so, no more discussion, hearing none. Okay, all in favor of videoing our meetings, raise your hand. Okay. Any opposed, like sign? So, got that one right. I think all for it, okay? It passed, okay. So, next is discussion possible motion, change
Danny?
meeting time
Danny?
back.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yes.
Are you guys going to vote about the minutes as well? Changing the way we're
About a
doing the minutes?
Summary-style minute?
Summary-style minutes.
Are you going to vote on that?
Okay, well, for the video, we didn't put that in that motion, okay? Okay, so I have a motion that we do that, summarize the minutes from the videos. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, any opposed, like sign, seeing none. So that passed. Thank you, Cassie. Okay. We got one more, discussion possible motion, change in meeting time back to 6, and I want to speak toward that since I had brought that at the last meeting. It was brought to my attention. One reason is that our interim, I'd give him a little time to start on the road, but also I left it to where I talked to some board members and they was, hey, they were okay with it. I said if the public would like to send me an email saying they'd like the time back at 6 o'clock instead of 5:30, I think I got one. I know I got one, but did anybody else, just discussing, did anybody else?
I have a suggestion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
How many people in this room would prefer us to meet at 5:30? Raise your hands. All right, how many people would prefer that we meet at 6? Raise your hands. I think that's your answer right there.
Okay. All right, Hal. I appreciate your survey, I think. Okay. All right. Well, let's put it to a vote, okay? We'll do that.
Are we going to have a discussion on it still?
Okay, yes, go to discussion, yeah. Back up. So, have made a motion, now we got a second, okay? Do I have a second on the time change? We're bringing it to a vote. Did I?
I don't think we did.
We did, okay. Did we, Nancy? We did the motion? We did do a second, okay. Do I have a second on the time change?
Well, did Lisa want to, I think Lisa wanted to make a point.
She made, you make the motion?
I was going to do the discussion, so we need a second before I can do a discussion.
Yeah, a motion, let's have a motion that we did.
I'll second.
Okay, and then a second, okay. Now discussion.
Who made the motion?
Okay.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion?
Hap.
Hap did.
Lena left at
6:30.
Okay, so leaving at 5:30 gives her here an hour?
Yes.
If we move it to 6, then she will only be here for a half hour? Is that a problem? Meaning, would that extra hour be good for her?
So she is.
I mean, I don't need to know why, that's fine, I
She
just,
is doing what she can, and then Nancy's taking some notes for her, and then she'll do the minutes from the video.
okay,
So
so
it really.
the changing would not
It
affect
really
her
wouldn't
at
affect
all?
her at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of moving our meeting time back to 6 p.m., raise your hand. Any opposed? Like sign, seeing none, so 6 o'clock. Thank you. All right, we're going to enter into executive session, and I'll do that in just a moment. The South Carolina Code of Laws, Section 30-4-70A, allows closed meetings in limited instances, and the presiding officer states that the specific purpose of the executive session, including a description of a matter to be discussed while maintaining privacy of the identity of individuals and entities involved, and the decision to adjourn into executive session is voted on in public. That's A, legal section 30-4-70A2. So tonight, discussion of attorney correspondence from Grove Osment and legal advice regarding potential claims, discussion of potential retention of legal counsel. Okay, so that is the motion I'm putting forward. Or do I have a motion? Let me just let somebody else make the motion. Do I have a motion that we go into executive session for?
I'll make that motion.
Yes, okay. Brian's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed, like sign, seeing none. So we are now in the executive session, so we're going to ask the public if you will leave at this time, and we will call for you to come back in when we come back into open session. Thank you. Okay, is everyone in? Okay. Going to call the, let's see, back into open session, so we have returned, so the executive session has concluded, so I'm declaring that the open session meeting is back in session, okay? So, as far as we discussed, let me get to my notes. We discussed attorney correspondence with Grove Osment and legal advice regarding potential claims and discussion of potential retention of legal counsel. So it was just discussion. There will be no action needed, no vote needed. So let's see. So I'm on to make a motion. To have a motion, we adjourn.
Motion made.
Okay. And a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Meeting is adjourned.